What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 6, Episode 22, Not About to Keke and Haha. So, we are still at the barbecue, right? So, after Keke throws this drink at Letitia and the mayhem ensued, Keke and her husband, Amin, they decide to go ahead and leave the premises. So, Melody follows Keke out to her car to find out exactly what led her to throw this drink on Letitia. And nothing, really, other than Keke's own temper, because Letitia was paying her absolute dust. She wasn't paying any attention to her. She was ignoring her. And so obviously, there was no justification for Keke throwing this drink at her. So Melody told her, then girl, you had no business doing it. You were like obviously in the wrong. And so Keke and her husband, they leave. Melody gets back to the party. And this is, oh, by the way, Marceau says that the reason why Keke acts like this with Letitia, spreading these horrible rumors about him, is because Keke is really jealous of Letitia and wants to live her life. Why would anybody want to live next to or live with Marceau? Who wants that life? Who wants that life? There is no amount of money in the world that would make living with Marceau worth it. So Kimmy, her Jeep comes out. She's really happy. She jumps in her Jeep, takes it around the block for a spin. So Kimmy's happy. So after all of that, everybody's sitting around the table and they're talking about the incident with, Keke throwing this drink on Letitia. And what was really uncomfortable for me was to hear how Marceau was talking about Keke's addiction. You don't like this woman. You highly, highly dislike her. So for you to use her drug addiction as a way to vilify her, that just was not cool to me at all. I don't think that someone's drug addiction should be a topic of conversation if you're not talking about, let's say, how to help them. How to, show support for them. If the conversation isn't centered around that, then I don't think you should be, even having a conversation about it. It's extremely sensitive. It's extremely personal. She's not there to defend herself. So the fact that, Marceau wanted to make this the topic of conversation, I thought it was just really wrong of him. So, and I could tell that everybody else at the table was uncomfortable. Either they did not chime in or they were probably talking in defense of Keke. Like, I think Keke and Letitia have another cousin. I think her name is Courtney, and she was sitting at the table and she was kind of like coming from a place of love when they were talking about Keke's addiction. So the fact that Marceau wanted to use it to make her look bad, wanted to use it as a weapon against her, I just thought that was really wrong. So, and then Marceau wanted to make himself look like a hero by saying how, when Keke was strung out, when she was down and out and nobody else was there for her, not even her own husband, it was him and Letitia that picked her back up. So then Marceau had asked everybody at the table, has anybody here dealt with a drug addict? And Stormy said she has. Her best friend was an addict, but she had to distance herself from her friend because of her addiction. So then Marceau starts interrogating Stormy, like, oh, why did you feel like you needed to distance yourself? Why did you? And it was just like, why are you going over the top about a decision that Stormy made that she thought was best for her? So Stormy starts to cry. She gets away. She walks away from the table. Marceau feels bad, as he should, and he follows her out to wherever she was at, and he tries to comfort her and he tries to apologize to her. And Stormy said in her confessional that, it was good to see that Marceau had a heart and that there's a human side of him. He had no choice. He made a woman cry for no reason when all she did was raise her hand when she said that she knew somebody that she knew someone that had an addiction problem and that she had to distance herself from that person. That's all she said, and he came down really hard on her. But anyway, it's great that he apologized to Stormy, but it should never have even happened. He should never have said what he even said. If he had any common sense, he would have left that alone. He would have left Keke's addiction alone, leave Stormy alone. Just like he does not know when because he thinks he's always right. And I don't know how Letitia puts up with it. Letitia, it will thrive. Letitia will absolutely soar if she were to leave this man alone. And I don't want to, talk about marriages breaking up or anything like that. But I think that Marceau anyways, let me just, So the fact that, the reason why he felt comfortable talking about Keke, talking about Stormy's friend, or questioning Stormy why she ended her friendship or whatever the hell he was doing. The reason why he feels so comfortable saying these things to people or saying these things about people is because he thinks he's always 100% right. Marceau will never admit that he was wrong. So the fact that he even apologized to Stormy was like mind blowing. And I can see Stormy giving him a couple of points for that because it's so unusual for Marceau to admit that he was wrong. So moving on from there, we see Courtney Martell and Chris Fletcher. They're all meeting up at the gym because evidently Martell is trying to help Courtney Beasley lose weight. So they're all meeting up at the gym, and they're talking about what happened at the barbecue, and then they're talking about Marceau, and they're all in agreement that Marceau has a way of pushing people's buttons just to get a reaction out of them. And he likes to hit below the belt, and he likes to, poke that stick at you. And then when you react and you start calling him out of his name and you call him everything but a child of God, all of a sudden he's surprised and he's shocked at your behavior. So they asked Courtney, are you willing to sit down and have a conversation with Marceau? Courtney's like, I don't have a problem talking to Marceau, just as long as it's not at Black, which is, whatever. That was kind of funny. So then they talk about the possibility of Chris Fletcher and Courtney possibly being related. They're going to take a DNA test, evidently, to see if they are. Keke, she's at the storage unit with her husband trying to get stuff for their new house, and Melody shows up. So they talk about the barbecue again. And Amin, Keke's husband, says that he's really sorry that this incident had to happen at Maurice and Kimmy's house because, he has a lot of respect for Maurice. He has no issues with Maurice and Kimmy. And his problem is with Marceau. So then Melody says, well, at least, Tisha likes you. And Amin was like, no, she don't. She's giving me hell. She don't like me. Because at the barbecue, Tisha had said that her problem is with Keke. She has no problems with Amin, and she actually really, really likes Amin. And so Amin was telling Melody she's a liar. No, that's not true. Me and Keke do not see eye to eye. We do not get along. So then Melody asked Keke, is she willing to sit down and have a conversation with Letitia? No, Keke's done. Letitia's done. Please, nobody asked these two women to ever sit down and have a conversation. It's over. It will never work because their problem is so deeply rooted in their family history. It doesn't have a lot to do with Marceau and these alleged affairs or whatever. They have never gotten along because their parents have never gotten along. Keke's father and Letitia's mother were very, very competitive, and they passed on that competitiveness to their children. And that's why Keke and Letitia don't really, have that loving family type of relationship, because this stuff goes way back. So they're not going to have a conversation. People stop asking these two women to sit down and talk. So then Keke does admit that she was wrong for throwing the drink. She admits that she shouldn't have done that. But Marceau was also wrong, I think, for bringing up her drug use when he said, call the police and get her drug tested. So then they talk about how Keke doesn't, how she's really clean now. She's in recovery. She's not doing drugs anymore. And so Melody was like, well, what a coinkydink, because I brought a drug test. Girl, do you want to take it so that you can prove the naysayers wrong? And once and for all, you can shut down these rumors about you still taking drugs or still using drugs. So I think that's where the episode ended, but we get to see a clip of next week's episode. I think that's where Keke has said she ain't got a problem taking the drug test as long as Marceau takes a lie detector test about his multiple affairs. So that's not going to happen. Marceau is not going to take no damn lie detector test because Marceau feels like he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. Because we do remember when Letitia's mother, Miss Wanda, had begged Marceau to prove something because the rumors were once again swirling about him, because when they had that picture of him, of his bare back in some woman's hotel room, Miss Wanda was begging him to prove to the world that, it wasn't him and he's not doing anything wrong. And Marceau was like, I'm not proving anything to anybody. Either you're going to take my word for it or you're not. I ain't got nothing else for you. So he ain't taking no damn lie detector test, which is going to get Keke off the hook of taking a drug test. So that's what it is. And that's where the episode ended. The thing about Marceau, I'm realizing he has a problem with everybody. And I don't know how Letitia puts up with this. He has a problem with Martell. He had a problem with Melody. He had a problem with Louie and his wife, Tiffany. He has a problem with everybody on this show. And it's like he can't even realize that maybe he's the damn problem. That's just not even a possibility for him. That's not even, it's not even conceivable that he may have some things about himself that he may need to change. And him making Stormy cry, you would think will make him kind of pump his brakes a little bit, kind of like, watch the things that he says to people, but probably not, because, Marceau is always right and everybody else is always wrong. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.